Here's a calf crunch we're going to work from the side mount position. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to establish my base, get on top of them. The good thing about this position is it'll work from any position from side mount. So if you have both arms passed, basic side mount, it's not going to matter. What matters is that is when your opponent gets his leg up. This is what you want. And a lot of times they'll get this leg up just because it's the common thing to do as a bottom person that's being controlled under side mount. So once I have my position here, he gets that leg up, I notice that I can feel that. So I'm going to come around his head here, come inside his leg, and I'm going to cradle him up. When I cradle him up, I'm going to run him this way. I'm going to run him to the inside. Now, as if I was stepping over to go to mount, I'm going to step on top of his leg, top of his shin. Now I can sit back. Now when I sit back, I want to make sure that my forearm is on the inside here. I don't want to get too deep in here. My initial cradle, I can be in pretty deep. But when I finish the lock, I only want my forearm on the inside of his leg here. Because, you know, I don't know if you know this, but I got a big bicep. And, you know, my big bicep may not do the trick. No, I'm just kidding. I have a little bicep. But what I need is my forearm because it's sharper. I'm going to put my forearm on the inside here. So when I cradle him here, this way, I'm going to step over for his shin, and I'm going to come back here. When I come back, I'm going to twist my palm in as I put pressure on his foot. And that's going to put a lot of pressure on his calf. Very painful, and you'll get the tap out. Now, in full speed. Very simple, but yet effective forearm lock from side control. I'm starting out with both arms passed. In my position, he's trying to push my face away. I'm going to lean my body up against his arm here, pushing his arm to the floor. Now I'm attempting like I'm going for an Americana. But instead of going for Americana, I'm going to slide my arm all the way down. I'm going to grab my bicep, and I'm going to grab my elbow here. Bicep, tricep area here, elbow here. I'm going to squeeze and put my chest into his arm and apply pressure. It's very painful on the forearm. Let's do this in fast motion. All right, you know, I don't know what this is called. This is like a forearm lock slash Kimura slash just something that's going to hurt the guy. This is just messed up. You know, this is the move that you want to do when you're trying to get a date and you want to impress that girl in class. So I'm going to start off with my position here, keep him tight. Now I'm going to isolate this arm. I'm going to come over the top, isolate the arm, slide back as if I was going for a Kimura. Now I'm going to slide up like I'm going for a forearm lock here. Now, if I don't get it or I can just go ahead and show off, I'm going to put my head right on the floor, post up, and I'm going to walk my legs around, and I'm going to hip heist, put my hip to the floor, sit down, and rotate. I'm going to rotate my body, get the submission. Let me do that in fast speed for you guys to see. once again, my partner tried to get a little sneaky, try to get out of my position. But I got something for him when he tried to get out. This time he's trying to replace his guard. He's trying to get his knee on the inside, trying to create a little bit of space by putting his knee on the inside. Here's what's going to happen. I'm in my side mount position. I have both arms passed. He's starting to scoot his hips out. He gets his knee in. As soon as he gets his knee in, I'm going to cover that space here. I'm going to put my knee on the inside of his legs here. And I'm going to trap it. Now from here, I'm going to sit back. As I sit back, I'm going to throw my leg over the top and catch his leg here so he doesn't roll with me. So as I sit back, throw my leg over the top and fall to the side. Now I'm going to put both legs on the top so he can't spin out no more. He can't spin. Now once I get in this position, I'm going to lean back on his toes. Notice, as soon as I lean back on his toes, he can feel the pressure. You see his body raise up. He doesn't like that pressure. Watch. I'm going to do it again. Watch again. Again. I love doing this to this guy. So I'm going to lean back on his toes. Feels that pressure. Squeeze my knees together. And I finish with the inside heel hook. Do this in fast speed. I'm going to show you guys how to get a Kimura from the side position with both arms on one side. I'm starting off here, so I'm not controlling his head with this arm. I want both arms on one side. Anytime I do that, I have to shovel his head up into my legs. I'm have his head here, other hand's right by his hip. Now what I'm going to do is I want to control this arm. I'm going to hug his arm, so I'm going to lean forward and just make an X with my arms to hug it. Now that I have control of it with both arms, I can release one arm and grab his wrist. Push it to the floor and right into my other hand. Now, I have him nice here. Now, I'm going to raise my base, step over his head, sit down, bring his elbow right to the center of my chest, lock it down with my elbows, and turn my torso. Get the tap. Let me show you guys this in full speed. Okay, now this is a forearm crush, squeeze lock, however you want to call it, but I'm going to call it deep because then you'll feel the pressure once you're able to apply this on your opponent. And when you're practicing it with your partner, make sure you take good care of him, be careful because this hurts and you can actually feel the pressure and it feels like his forearm's going to snap in half. All right, the first thing I want to do, I'm working from side control. I got both arms passed, one elbow down by his hip, the other elbow by his head, and he's probably trying to push me away or do something of the sort with this arm. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my hand that's down by, my arm that's down by his hip, I'm going to put the blade of my forearm on the inside crack of his elbow. It's going to keep his arm down. Now from here, he's probably still going to be trying to push my face away because to get out, he needs space. He's going to be pushing my face away. That's what I want. I want this hand right here. Now I'm going to take my arm that's by his head, I'm going to circle it inside, come around, put my armpit on the top of his wrist, grab my bicep and my elbow and squeeze. When I'm here, I'm also going to turn my wrist up so that I get the blades in my arm on the inside of his forearm and on his bicep. Very painful. You can feel it. It feels like his arm is just going to snap in half right now, just as I'm doing it in the slow motion. So I'm here. He's still pushing away. His arm is bent. I can also come on top this way. And once I get here, I twist grab and put all my weight down on his hand. All right, now fast motion. Show you guys how to do an arm lock from this position here when he tries to get a little sneaky. You see this little sneaky this guy is trying to get sneaky and trying to escape out the back door. Alright, so I'm in side control here and he trying to put his arm on this side so he can perhaps escape out the back door. But I got something for him. So I'm going to start in side control here. I feel his arm underneath my body. I'm going to take my arm that's closest to his legs. I'm going to wrap it around and I'm going to grab his arm and pick it up. When I pick it up, I'm going to pull it away from his body and replace that space with my knee here. I'm going to put my shin right across his rib cage. Now from here, I'm going to just raise my base up a little bit, lean forward, and step over his head. Now I'm here. Now from here, just going to lean back on his arm, knees together, and let me turn a little bit so you guys can see these intricate details. I'm going to put my armpit on the top of his wrist, his forearm. My knees are together here, squeezing his shoulder. This leg's over his head. I'm going to lean back and apply pressure on his arm. So when I step over his head, come here, lean back, and pressure. Now let's do this in fast motion. We're going to do a straight arm lock from the side position. Want to make sure I have everything, all my ducks in order, make sure everything's proper, make sure everything's tight so that he has no chance of getting out and I have a 100% success rate when I attempt this technique. Now I'm going to start side position, head's controlled, hip under here, nice order, nice tight position. I'm going to go ahead and lean forward and cross my arms to control his arm. Just make an X with your arms, elbow in. Now I'm going to control his arm. Now I'm going to lean forward and I'm going to straighten my leg towards his head, the one that's next to his head. I'm going to straighten that leg. That's going to put my hip down and keep him flat. Now I'm going to reach up and grab his wrist and lock my arms. This other arm is right down by his elbow. So I have pressure on his elbow, control his wrist, elbows in. Don't have your elbows out when you try to finish. Put your elbows in and pressure down. Let me do that in fast speed. All right, let's talk about getting this toe hold from side position. I start off, my arms in good position, making sure he's tight. He's trying to block me from going to mount, just relaxing, hanging out here. Don't think nothing can happen to him. That's what he thinks. He's going to hang out here. So I'm going to come here. I'm going to bring my arm all the way around his ankle. And for me, I like to come and just catch his leg here. This ensures that he can't use this other leg to try to block anything. So I'm just going to catch his leg right here. Now, from here, I'm going to reach over the top, grab the top of his toes, figure four my arms, then push his foot down towards his butt. As I'm pushing his foot down towards his butt, I'm rolling my other wrist up. So I'm here. So it starts from here, reach up, and rotate. Fast motion. This is another wrist lock that we can work from this position. From here, I'm going to set it up by faking like I'm going for the Kimura. I'll start here. Both arms past here. His arm is just dangling here. I'm going to go ahead and grab his arm as if I'm going for a Kimura. So I'm going to set it up here. 9 times out of 10, you grab a guy's arm for a Kimura. He's either going to bring it in close or he's going to bring it out straight. So this is the situation where your opponent brings his arm out straight here. So now, now I can't lock up my arms for a figure four. So what I'm going to do is I need to isolate his arm. So I'm going to put my whole body on his arm. I'm going to lean forward, put all my weight down, put my head on his arm to keep his arm straight. Put all my body on it, straighten it, and then just pull his arm away from his body and then bend his wrist back. Takes one hand. I don't even need to use the other hand. One hand I can do this. All I need to do is isolate this arm, keep it straight, and lock it down. Now fast motion. You didn't even see that coming, did you? 2 wrist locks from the same position. I'm starting off from the side position, both arms past his body. In order for him to get out, he's going to need to create some space. So he's going to be looking to push off on my body, on my shoulders, in order to create space. So I have to be aware of this. So what I'm going to do is if he pushes off on my shoulder closest to his head, I'm going to roll my shoulder in to trap his wrist. I'm going to grab his elbow, keep his elbow stationary, and I'm going to lean into his hand as I put pressure on his wrist. So I'm going to lock it up here, roll my shoulder. I can also use my head to help stabilize his arm here and come here. Now, if he pushes and tries to push off on this shoulder or dig in this underhook, I gotta be really tight and not let him get his hands in. So as he's digging in here, he's putting his wrist in a compromising position. Now I'm gonna apply my head again to stabilize his wrist, grab his elbow, and put pressure on his hand. It's gonna bend his wrist in this way. The other one bends his wrist back this way. So if he's digging in, I have to stay nice and tight here and apply that pressure. Let's do them both in fast motion.